Our third anniversary should have been perfect. Ethan booked the rooftop restaurant I'd been dreaming about, with fairy lights, soft violins, and a view of the whole city glowing beneath us. He even surprised me with a velvet box before the appetizers arrived. My heart raced. I thought he was going to propose. But when I opened it, it wasn't a ring. It was a silver necklace with a tiny engraved heart. Beautiful, delicate, and somehow wrong. Engraved on the back were 2 letters. E+R. My name is Mia. I smiled anyway, pretending not to notice, because that's what you do when you love someone and don't want to ruin the moment. I told myself it was a mistake. A manufacturer error. Something stupid. But Ethan's face. His face told a different story. He froze when he saw the engraving. Just for a second. But I caught it, that flicker of panic behind his smile. I hope you like it, he stammered, helping me clasp it behind my neck. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. But later that night, after he fell asleep, I went to the bathroom to take off the necklace. As I held it under the light, something caught my eye, a faint scratch inside the heart charm, like someone had tried to scrape something off. I opened the tiny clasp at the bottom. Inside was a folded strip of paper. A note. For words, written in rushed handwriting. This was meant for Rose. My blood turned cold. Who the hell was Rose? And why was her gift hanging around my neck? I stared at that tiny piece of paper like it was poison. For words, that's all it took to rewrite everything I thought I knew about Ethan. This was meant for Rose. My hands trembled as I unfolded it completely. The writing was small, rushed, almost shaky, like someone didn't have much time. And on the back, faint but still legible, were 3 numbers. 11:26 p.m. Rooftop. Don't trust him. My stomach dropped. I checked the time on my phone. 11:04 p.m. The rooftop? The same rooftop where Ethan and I had dinner earlier. The same place he'd given me the necklace. A cold wave ran through me. Was Rose there now? Was she waiting? Or was she the one who hid the note before he could give it to her? My mind was spinning when Ethan knocked on the bathroom door. You okay, babe? You've been in there a while. I shoved the note into my pocket so fast I nearly tore it. Yeah, I called back. My voice cracked. Just washing my face. When I came out, Ethan smiled at me, that warm, familiar smile that used to make me feel safe. But now, all I saw was lies hiding behind it. He fell asleep easily, like tonight was normal. Like nothing was wrong. As soon as his breathing settled into its usual rhythm, I slid out of bed, grabbed my keys, and quietly left the apartment. The city air was cold, biting against my skin as I drove back to the rooftop restaurant. My heart pounded with every passing minute. 11:20 p.m. 11:23 p.m. 11:25 p.m. When I reached the rooftop entrance, the lights were off and the place looked closed. But then, a shadow moved behind the glass door. Someone was standing there. A woman. Soaking wet from the night rain, hair stuck to her cheeks, eyes wide with fear. She stepped into the light. And for a second, I forgot how to breathe. She looked exactly like me. And she whispered, "You're Mia, aren't you?" He lied to you too. For a moment, I couldn't speak. The woman stood under the dim rooftop light, shivering, her clothes soaked, her hair tangled from the rain, but none of that mattered. Because her face was mine. Not similar. Not a coincidence. She looked like my reflection standing outside my body. Same eyes. Same jawline. Same small scar near the eyebrow, the one I got when I was 7 and fell off my bike. My knees almost buckled. Who are you?" I whispered. She glanced over her shoulder nervously as if expecting someone to appear from the shadows. "My name is Rose," she said, voice trembling. "I'm the person that necklace was meant for. And I'm the one he's been hiding from you." The wind cut between us, cold enough to steal my breath. "He?" I said. "You mean Ethan?" She nodded slowly. "I didn't know he was seeing you too, not until I found the messages on his backup phone." Her eyes softened, full of something like grief. "I didn't even know someone else existed." My heart pounded harder. "Why do you look like me?" She swallowed. "Because we're connected. More than you think." Everything inside me twisted. Connected? Before I could respond, Rose stepped closer and lowered her voice to a whisper. He's dangerous, Mia. You need to listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Ethan isn't who he says he is. And he didn't date us because he loved us. The hairs on my arms stood up. Then why? I whispered. She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small, torn photograph. The edges were burnt, the image faded, but I recognized the child in the picture instantly. It was me, at age 7. Beside me in the photo was another little girl, Rose. We were supposed to grow up together, she said, voice cracking. But Ethan's family, they separated us. I stared at her, breath shaking. You're saying we're sisters? Rose shook her head slowly, tears filling her eyes. No, Mia. We're not just sisters. She pressed the photo into my hand. My fingers tightened around the worn, half-burned photograph. 2 little girls, identical, smiling, holding hands in front of a birthday cake. The number 7 stood in bright candles. Rose and me. Twins. My whole body went numb. That's impossible, I whispered. My parents. Your parents lied, Rose said softly. Both of ours did. I staggered back, the rooftop wind cold against my face. Why would they hide something like that? Why would they separate us? Rose looked at me with eyes that felt too familiar. Because Ethan's family made them. A chill went down my spine. What does Ethan have to do with this? Her jaw tightened. Everything. She pulled out a second photo, newer, sharp, taken secretly with a phone. Ethan stood with an older man dressed in a white coat, his hand on Ethan's shoulder. Who is that? I asked. Rose swallowed. Dr. Mercer. Ethan's father. The man who ran the facility where we were kept. I felt the world tilt. Facility. My voice broke. Rose, what are you talking about? She placed a hand on mine, the same hand, same shape, same warmth. Mia, we weren't separated because of family issues. We weren't given up for adoption. We weren't stolen. Her voice dropped to a whisper. We were part of an experiment. My heartbeat crashed into my ribs. No. Rose stepped closer. When we turned 7, they took me. You escaped because the fire destroyed part of the building. Our parents thought we died, or at least, that's what they were told. I covered my mouth, choking back a sob. Mia, she whispered, Ethan didn't date us by accident. He was ordered to monitor us. Both of us. To see which one of us would survive. My blood ran cold. Survive? What do you mean survive? I whispered. Before Rose could answer, a door at the far end of the rooftop slammed open. A tall figure stepped out. Suit soaked in rain, eyes fixed on us. Ethan. But it wasn't the Ethan I knew. Ethan stepped toward us with slow, deliberate steps, the kind that made your instincts scream run even before your mind processed danger. Rain dripped from his jacket. His hair, usually neat, clung to his forehead. But it was his eyes. Cold. Empty. Mechanical. Don't move, he said quietly. Rose reached for my wrist, gripping so tightly it hurt. Stay behind me, she whispered. But Ethan's stare didn't waver. You shouldn't have told her, he said to Rose. That wasn't your place. She laughed weakly, bitterness shaking her voice. My place? You think you own us. He stepped closer. I don't own you. But you're both still part of the study. You don't understand what's at stake. Study? I choked. Ethan, what did you do to us? His jaw clenched. Rainwater traced the lines of his face like tears he didn't have the humanity to shed. They were never supposed to meet, he said. You weren't supposed to cross paths. Mia, you were the control. Rose was the catalyst. Separating you was necessary. My heart pounded in my throat. Necessary for what? He didn't answer. Instead, he slowly revealed what he'd been hiding behind his back. A syringe, filled with a clear, shimmering liquid. My breath stopped. Rose pulled me behind her. You're not touching her. Ethan's voice was calm, too calm. You don't understand. The experiment is failing. Your genetics are destabilizing. The longer you're together, the worse it gets. If I don't intervene, both of you could. Could what? I screamed. Die, he said simply. The rooftop fell silent except for the rain hammering the concrete. Rose shook her head, fury blazing in her eyes. You want to inject us again? like they did when we were kids. It's not like that, Ethan said. But I heard the tremor in his voice. He was lying. He was afraid, not for us, but for the consequences. Rose stepped between us, eyes locked on him. Mia and I deserve the truth. All of it. For the first time, Ethan broke eye contact. His shoulders slumped. The syringe shook in his hand. You weren't supposed to survive the fire, he whispered. My stomach dropped. What fire? I breathed. Rose's grip on me tightened painfully. Ethan continued, voice hollow. The fire when you were 7, it wasn't an accident. It was a reset. They needed one of you to remain. Just one. The blood drained from my face. And which one was supposed to survive? I whispered. He met my eyes, and the answer was already there. You, he said. Rose gasped. Before I could react, Ethan lunged, syringe aimed straight at me. Rose shoved me aside, screaming. Run, Mia. But Ethan was faster. He grabbed my arm. The cold metal of the needle pressed against my skin. And just as he pushed the plunger, a hand grabbed his wrist from behind. A woman's voice, trembling but fierce, echoed through the rain. Let go of my daughter. I turned. And standing there, soaked from the storm, was a woman whose face I hadn't seen in 15 years. She looked smaller than I remembered. Thinner. Hair streaked with gray, face lined from years I never saw her live. But her eyes, God, her eyes were the same. Warm. Fierce. Unbreakable. Mom? I whispered, voice barely a breath. Her grip tightened around Ethan's wrist with a strength that didn't match her frame. Move away from my daughters, she said, voice shaking but steady. Ethan staggered back, the syringe slipping from his hand and clattering across the wet concrete. The rain instantly diluted the shimmering liquid inside. Rose rushed to her, choking out a sob. You're alive, how? They told us. I know what they told you, Mom said, pulling us both against her chest. She kissed our foreheads like she never thought she'd get to again. I had to disappear. They were coming for me next. My knees went weak. All my life I thought she died in that fire. But she'd been out here running, hiding, surviving, just to keep us safe. Ethan straightened, wiping blood from a cut on his lip. His mask cracked, revealing something venomous beneath. You shouldn't have come here, he hissed. You don't know what you're doing. Mom stepped in front of us like a shield. I know exactly what I'm doing. Her voice was steel. You're not taking them back. There is no back, Ethan growled. They're destabilizing. They need the serum. Without it, we'll survive, Mom snapped. We're not your experiments anymore. Ethan's laugh echoed through the empty rooftop. Low. Cruel. You really think you can outrun what's in their blood? My stomach twisted. What's in our blood? He pointed at us, at me and Rose, trembling in the rain. You are the only successful pair, he said. Genetically bound. Two halves of a formula that was never meant to exist together. Mom grabbed my hand. Ignore him. But Ethan wasn't done. When you're apart, you're stable, he said. But together? His eyes flicked down to our hands, linked without thinking. Together, you become unpredictable. Rose's face paled. What does that mean? A deafening crack split the sky, not thunder. The rooftop door burst open. 2 men in black stepped out. Then another. And another. All armed. All focused on us. Mom yanked us backward toward the fire escape. Run, she whispered urgently. Don't let go of each other's hands. But Ethan's voice cut through the chaos as he pointed toward me. Get her first. She's the one they want alive. Time stopped. Not Rose. Not both of us. Me. Because I wasn't just part of the experiment. I was its final phase. And if they caught me, everything would end. The rooftop exploded into chaos. Boots slammed against wet concrete, orders barked through radios, the harsh glare of flashlights slicing through the rain. Mom shoved Rose and me toward the fire escape. Go. Now. We stumbled toward the railing, hands locked together so tightly my fingers went numb. But before we could climb over, a gunshot cracked through the air. A warning shot. Close. Too close. Stop running, one of the men yelled. We only need the primary subject. Primary subject. Me. Rose spun around, blocking me with her body. If you want her, you go through me. Ethan's voice cut through the storm like a blade. Move, Rose. You don't understand what's happening to you yet. Rose glared at him. I understand you're a liar. He stepped forward, palms raised as if that made him harmless. Mia is destabilizing. She needs the serum. You both do. Mom hurled a piece of metal at him. It struck his shoulder hard. You'll never touch them again. Ethan winced, stumbling. The moment he faltered, the armed men surged forward. Mom pushed us toward the ladder again. Go, she shouted. If they take her, they'll never stop. Run. My chest tightened. Come with us. She shook her head, eyes burning with tears. She didn't have time to cry. I'll slow them down. Keep your sister safe. Mom. But we didn't get to finish. Because the men rushed her at once. And before we could even scream, they dragged her to the ground. Rose lunged forward, but I yanked her back. Rose, no. We can't leave her, she cried. She told us to run. I choked. We climbed over the fire escape, rain making the metal slick under our hands. The alarms of the rooftop door blared as the men realized we were escaping downward. Flashlights followed us. Shouts echoed. Boots thundered closer. We climbed as fast as we could, stumbling down the slick steps. 3 floors down, a bullet struck the railing beside my hand. Sparks flew. They're shooting at us. Rose cried. Don't stop. We hit the alley. Pitch black. Narrow. Only one way out. Rose pulled me forward, but I froze as a shadow stepped out from behind a dumpster. A man. Drenched. Breathing heavily. I thought he was one of Ethan's. But then he stepped into the faint streetlight and shook his head slowly. No time, he said. If you want to live, come with me. Rose tightened her grip on my hand. Who are you? She demanded. He opened his coat, not a weapon inside. A badge. Not police. A private seal. Government level. I'm the reason you survived the fire when you were 7, he said. My heart stopped. You saved me. He nodded. And you need to trust me again. Because if they catch you now. Shouting voices rounded the corner. Flashlights swarmed the alley. The man grabbed our wrists. You'll never see daylight again. The man pulled us deeper into the shadows of the alley, pressing us against the cold brick wall just as Ethan's men stormed past the entrance. Flashlights swept across the puddles, voices barking orders. Find them. Spread out. We can't lose the primary subject. Primary subject. That word burned through my skull. Rose gripped my hand so tight our knuckles turned white. The stranger placed a finger to his lips, quiet. We stayed still, barely breathing, while the men searched just meters away. After what felt like an eternity, their footsteps faded into the night. Only then did the stranger speak again. His voice was calm, steady, too calm for someone in the middle of a chase. You were never supposed to be here tonight, he said. Neither of you. Rose stepped in front of me, protective. Start talking. Who are you? He slowly held up the badge again. The emblem glistened beneath the streetlight, a symbol I'd never seen before, something official, but not police. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm with Division 7. I blinked. Division, what? Rose scoffed. Some fake agency? Daniel shook his head. No. We investigate illegal genetic research. Like the Mercer experiments. Ethan's father. The facility. The serum. Us. Everything in my chest tightened. Daniel continued, his voice low and urgent. I was the one who rescued you during the fire. Both of you. But only Mia made it out before the building collapsed. I thought Rose died inside. Rose swallowed hard. I didn't. They took me back. Daniel's jaw clenched. I didn't know they still had you, until tonight. My head spun. You saved me, I whispered. He nodded once. I carried you out myself. Rose pulled me closer, suddenly shaken. Why us? Why did they experiment on us? Daniel hesitated. Then, because you're the first successful twins in the entire project. Bonded DNA strands. Impossible to replicate. I felt sick. Successful for what? Daniel met my eyes, and the expression there chilled me. For weaponization. Rose gasped. That's insane. We're not. You don't understand, he said. Your bodies were altered as children. When you're apart, the modifications stay dormant. But together. He looked straight at me. Together, your physiology becomes unstable, unpredictable, powerful. Powerful. The word didn't feel like a compliment. It felt like a warning. I tried to steady my voice. So Ethan, he's working for his father? For the program. Daniel nodded. He was placed in your lives to control the outcome, to observe reactions, to decide which twin should survive. Rose whispered, my God. Daniel stepped closer. I can get you both out of the city. But we need to move now. They won't stop. Not until they have you, especially Mia. Why me? I asked. His answer came out as a whisper. Because you're the one who didn't complete the modification cycle. They think you're unstable. And unstable is dangerous. Before I could speak, a sharp metallic click echoed from behind us. We froze. Daniel turned slowly. Ethan stood at the mouth of the alley. Soaked, bleeding, eyes blazing. And he was holding a gun. Step away from them, Ethan said. He raised the gun at Daniel. Now. Rain fell in sheets behind Ethan, turning the alley into a blur of shadows and slick pavement. His arm was steady. The gun aimed right at Daniel's chest. Move away from them, Ethan growled. His voice wasn't the man I knew, it was ice, obedience, programming. Daniel didn't flinch. You won't shoot me. Ethan's jaw tightened. Try me. Rose stepped between us instinctively. You're not touching her again. Rose, Ethan said quietly, you think I ever had a choice? His voice cracked. For the first time since this nightmare began, he sounded human. I stepped forward, trembling. Why me, Ethan? Why were you watching me? His eyes met mine, and something broke in them. Because you weren't supposed to survive, he whispered. And I couldn't. I couldn't let them kill you. My breath caught. Daniel shifted, blocking me again. Enough. Put the gun down. Ethan shook his head. You don't understand what's inside her. She needs the serum. If she destabilizes, she dies. And the program dies with her. Rose spat. Good. Let it die. Ethan's hand trembled. I didn't want it to end like this. The gun swayed, not toward Daniel. Toward me. I froze. But Daniel moved faster than anyone I'd ever seen. He lunged, slamming Ethan's arm upward. A deafening gunshot split the night. The bullet tore into a metal vent above us. Rose screamed. I stumbled back against the wall. Ethan and Daniel struggled, slipping in the rain, fists slamming, boots kicking up water. Ethan was strong, stronger than he should have been, but Daniel was trained. Another gunshot exploded. For a second, none of us knew who had been hit. Then Ethan collapsed, dropping to his knees, hand pressed against his side, blood blooming between his fingers. He looked up at me, rain mixing with tears on his face. Mia, he whispered, I tried to save you. He fell forward, face striking the pavement. The gun clattered beside him. Rose covered her mouth with both hands. Is he? Daniel checked his pulse. Slow. Weak. He's alive. But he won't be for long. I sank to the ground, shaking. All this time, he was watching me because he cared? Or because he was ordered to? Daniel's voice softened. Both. Before anything else could be said, sirens echoed in the distance, not police, but the low, sweeping wail of Division's 7 emergency units. Daniel grabbed our hands. This isn't over. Ethan's death will only delay them. You two need to disappear, permanently. They cannot find you again. Rose nodded, tears falling. But where do we go? Daniel looked at me, only at me. You go wherever you choose. For the first time in your life, no one else gets to decide. The sirens grew louder. Daniel stepped back, giving us one last look. Run. Live. And don't ever look for answers again. The truth almost killed you. Then he turned away, moving toward the flashing lights of his team, leaving us in the rain-soaked alley. Rose pulled me into her arms. I'm here, she whispered. We stay together now. Always. For the first time ever. I felt whole. Not an experiment. Not a subject. Not someone's project. Just Mia. A twin. A survivor. And finally, free.